Hola, ¿qué tal amigos? Mi nombre es Ana Betty Chávez y el día de hoy los estoy invitando a que nos acompañen este próximo domingo 3 de junio a las 4 de la tarde en el Gran Hotel Marriott a la coronación de la nueva reina Miss Belleza México USA 2018. Así que no lo piense más, compre sus tickets ya.
El siguiente espacio es un programa pagado y las opiniones emitidas en el mismo no representan la opinión de CBBA Radio ni de sus patrocinadores.
Hello and welcome to Your Health Naturally. I'm your host, Lilibeth Andre, naturopath and pranic healer with Healthy Balance here in Houston, Texas. This program serves to demystify alternative health practices, and I hope you enjoy it. If you missed any of our past episodes, you can find them on our YouTube channel, where you can subscribe and receive notification of our new posts. I thank you for joining us live today. Art helps us appreciate our humanity. It inspires us and it helps us motivate and provide a respite for our day. We have a video we'd like to share with you, and we'll be right back.
As a child, the main thing I really ever wanted for my life was to have a happy family. One afternoon, my last year of engineering college, I sat with my friend Felipe under a tree at a sunny cafe so he could see pictures of my art. He looked through some of my paintings and blurted out, "Why do you always seem happy in real life while your paintings are so dark and mournful?" It would be many years before I could answer. When I was 4, my parents divorced and I went to live with my grandparents. Since I was very little, my father would staple sheets of white paper together and give them to me to draw. He used to hang my drawings in his engineering office. My mom was a doctor and was working in the hospital many hours of the day and often on call at night. There really was no time to look after me. My grandfather struggled with a bipolar disorder, and my grandmother with depression and severe problems with different internal organs that led to many operations. Still, they looked after me with love. Sometimes my grandfather pulled me into his manic episodes, like the time he worked days and nights without stopping, painting a huge mural in the house using any paint available, including makeup, house paint, food coloring, coffee. I was around 8. I begged the bipolar disorder to spare me, as he was taking other family members. I swallowed the rotten apple of rape at 16, and of the rapist going without punishment. And when inside an old colonial house in a narrow street, alone with a stranger and his surgical equipment, I saw sparks fly. That time art gave me a little clay sculpture that I call "Goodbye Baby, I Never Saw Your Smile." As a matter of fact, looking back, Felipe was right. To this day, I vigorously pour those snarky, hurtful bits into my art, together with all my uncertainty about not having all the answers. I realize now that art saved my life when I was 4, after my parents' divorce, and it still does today. A After graduation, I married a wonderful man and had 2 amazing daughters. Art has allowed me to overcome the challenges of my life, to attain the happy family I always wanted, and it has given me access to professional and spiritual fulfillment, because now I help others use the arts as I have.
Art can also be a source for healing. And to speak with us about art as therapy, we have our guest, Lorena Fernandez, with us today. Hi, Lorena.
Hi.
How are you?
Thanks for inviting me.
Well, thanks for joining us. Lorena, I want the audience to know you're an industrial designer, engineer, you're an artist, and you're an academic.
Mm-hmm.
So how is it that you got involved with art as therapy?
Well, I have been using art as therapy since I was 4 years old.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
At first to deal with the difficulties in my childhood. And I didn't know of anyone in that profession, when I was growing up. So the closest thing I knew of someone making something in the real world, it was an engineer. So of course I studied engineering when I grew up. And I knew that I wanted to know and to understand how the systems work, how the systems in my family work, for example, and why they didn't work, and how to fix them. So I studied systems engineering. And while I was studying, as you saw in the video, people pointed out that I was very happy and relaxed in my group, with groups of my friends. And my art was dark and sad and terrifying. So what was happening is that I was fully self-expressed. I was expressing my happiness with whoever I wanted, and I was expressing my sadness in a private way that I wanted, and sometimes I show my art to some people. So I think that's what allowed me to be balanced and to overcome all the difficulties in my life, to be able to express whatever I didn't want in my real life through art. And I became an academic to share that with students, because I don't think that's something necessarily for people who are especially hurt or traumatized. I think that that's a skill and a powerful tool for every human being to have in their arsenal, how to deal with all relationships in your life, with the emotions at work. Do you want to scream at work, or do you want to make a painting and then be rational at work? Which one do you want?
It's an easy choice.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Well, how is it that you felt there was a need for people to also identify with this type of therapy?
I mean, people have been attracted to it for a long time. Every time I talk about it, people were asking me about it. And I've given many workshops and in areas, in healing situations for people who have trauma or have sadness, have depression, and they come to deal with that through art. And I have understood myself that any trauma can be healed through art, because what happens when you go through a traumatic situation is that the part of yourself that makes words and text stops working. So those traumatic experiences are not kept in words. So by making art, you can express something without words, and then slowly bring words to it, and then it's no longer a hidden, terrifying thing that is inside yourself. It's a manageable thing that is outside yourself, and that you're starting to understand rationally using words. And I brought this to the Houston Community College to teach as part of a class called Introduction to the Humanities Through Expressive Arts. And I realized that the students come from, Houston is the most diverse city in the United States, I think.
Yes.
Or one of the most diverse. And also, the people in my class come from every field. They're future engineers, future nurses, every field.
Mm-hmm.
And all of them have liked and found benefit in using the arts, all kinds of arts that they've been exposed to in
Wonderful.
the class.
Okay, we'll take a break and we'll be right back.
Hola amigos, soy Cristóbal Galindo, el abogado de la raza. Si estás en un accidente, la primera cosa que debes hacer es atender los heridos. Si alguien está muy grave, llama 911. Segunda cosa que debes hacer es llamar a la policía. Ellos tienen que hacer un reporte de accidente. Y para las personas que no tienen papeles, no importa. La policía está ahí para ayudar. La tercera cosa que debes hacer es tomar fotos de todas las evidencias. Los autos, las personas, placas, etc. La cuarta cosa y más importante es llamar a un abogado. El seguro tiene sus propios abogados que pelean en contra de ustedes. Ustedes necesitan su propio abogado para pelear contra ellos. Nosotros estamos aquí para servirle. La primera cita siempre es gratis. Nosotros no cobramos si no ganamos y peleamos por ustedes. Si no puedes venir a la oficina, vamos a su casa o hospital. 713-228-3030. Yo soy Cristóbal Galindo, el abogado de la raza. No te preocupes, yo te voy a ayudar.
Tequila Party Bus, diversión garantizada para tus quinceañeras, bodas, graduaciones, eventos corporativos, despedidas de solteros y más. Decoramos dependiendo la ocasión. Contamos con un minibar, 2 TVs plasmas, luces, post dance, Bluetooth para tu propia música y mucho más. Tequila Party Bus lleva tu fiesta a otro nivel. Y lo que pasa en Tequila Party Bus se queda en Tequila Party Bus. Para mayor información, llámanos al 832-771-9825 o al 281-455-4129.
Si el techo de tu casa, negocio o de tu bodega fue dañado por algún desastre natural, llama ya a los expertos al 713-228-3030 y haz tu cita ya. Vamos hasta donde te encuentres y te hacemos una evaluación gratis. Llámanos 713-228-3030. Nosotros pelearemos por ti con la aseguranza y conseguiremos lo que tú necesitas. Llama ya a los expertos en casos de tormenta. 713-228-3030.
Welcome back. We're visiting with Dr. Lorena Fernandez talking about art and healing. Lorena, how is it that art can help us heal?
The main way how art can help us heal is to release repressed emotions, by releasing repressed emotions. But also by creating symbols that are outside of yourself about situations that you're going through that are difficult. You can get very powerful insights. I remember a lady who came to my practice and she was going through a divorce, and she did a drawing of raging river, and there was 2 hills to each side of the river and a bridge connecting them, and there was a stick figure walking over that bridge with a green area on the tummy, on the stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And then she said, wow, this drawing is about my divorce. It's telling me that even though it's very difficult to go over this terrible situation, and that I'm feeling sick by going through it, because the green stomach, the situation is not forever, and I can handle it. I will reach the end of the bridge. So this is a very powerful insight that comes from her inner self, from her emotional self. It's much more powerful to get a sign from yourself in that way than to have someone tell you, oh, it's not forever, and that has no power practically. So when this is one of the things that happens through art, that your higher self, I'm going to say your inner wisdom really comes up and comes through to your daily understanding of your life. You know, there's a more superficial level of understanding. So this wisdom bubbles up, and then you become able to deal with the situation much, much better.
Well, I think many times when we experience trauma, we have great difficulty expressing it verbally. And if we don't have that emotional vocabulary, then it becomes even harder. So from what I understand is that we begin to allow our inner wisdom to express itself in the things that we're not understanding, the things we can't put words to, yet they're inside hurting us, and they can come out through this vehicle of expressive art.
Yes.
And then we can see them, because we can't see them when they're inside.
Right, exactly.
So what are some of the applications that you've seen? I mean, you mentioned that it's not only for people that are dealing with trauma. It's good for everyone.
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, you know, we have drives, and we have, as humans, we have capacities that are like seeds. They're inside us, and they only need a little nurturing, and they want to bloom, our capacities, you know. Some people have talent for music, some people like to dance and things like that. So this helps you to develop and to discover yourself and your capacities if you give yourself the opportunity to do art. So that's in terms of yourself. In terms of your relationship with other people, you know, and managing your emotions. Every time you have a negative emotion, every person has a negative emotion at one time, you know, maybe once a day.
Sure.
You don't have to hurt your relationships because you're feeling that way. You can express it through art, and then it can not only not hurt your relationships, but it could help someone else that sees that art and identifies with that emotion, you know, to also express that same emotion. In terms of relationship with others, you can see the impact. Your relationships with others will improve because you have an alternative way to express negative emotions. In terms of you understanding the world and how the systems and the materials in the world work, it helps on that too, because when you make things with your hands, when you paint, when you sculpt, when you move in the world, when you dance, you are creating a new relationship with the external and material world. And these little insights that you get about what is the process to take an idea from a mental idea to a thing that is working in the world, what is that process? When you make art, you're an expert at making something that is at first in your imagination, how to make it into the real world. That's one of the most important things that humans can have. So in terms of creative visualization, that's another area. So it's 5 areas. Creative visualization, if you know yourself and what you like, because you've been doing art, if you can manage your emotions, so you have good relationships, so you can rally people around your idea, and you know how the world works because you have created things, it's much easier for you to visualize other possibilities, right? That is creative visualization. What else can I do? How else could things be, you know? Solutions for problems. So it sparks your creativity.
So learning basically how to model our thoughts.
Yes.
And give them life.
And as you are dealing with things in the real world, your thoughts that are first modeled in one way give you feedback. You know, the materials in the real world tell you, I know you want to do this thing, but this is the nature of me as a material. And then you respond to that and you adjust. So this is a real relationship with the world.
Yes, because the world isn't always the way we want it to be.
Exactly. So this deep understanding of that you collaborate with the capacity of the world to create something that you would like. You have to collaborate. It's not simply you imagining something and then it's going to be there.
Definitely.
You have to take into consideration what can happen in the world given the materials in the world and the systems.
And I know you've presented classes for all kinds of people dealing with stress and all. We'll talk about that shortly. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back to continue.
No dejes que nadie te quite el sueño americano y permite que la oficina del abogado Cristóbal Galindo te ayude con tus trámites de inmigración. Llama ya al 713-228-3030.
Y recuerda, la primera cita siempre es gratis. Atendemos de 24 horas al día y la cita siempre es conmigo en español, tu abogado de la raza.
Contamos con planes de pagos. Comunícate al 713-228-3030.
Yo soy Cristóbal Galindo y cuentas conmigo.
Hola, ¿qué tal amigos? Mi nombre es Ana Betty Chávez y el día de hoy los estoy invitando a que nos acompañen este próximo domingo 3 de junio a las 4 de la tarde en el Gran Hotel Marriott a la coronación de la nueva reina Miss Belleza México USA 2018. Así que no lo piense más, compre sus tickets ya.
Si perdiste un familiar en los Estados Unidos por causa de un accidente de tránsito, en el trabajo o por una negligencia médica y te encuentras fuera del país, no te preocupes, tú tienes derecho de hacer un reclamo. Llámanos ya al 713-228-3030 o a nuestra línea gratuita 1-888-800-1808. Sí, 1-888-800-1808 o visítanos en www.elabogadodelaraza.com.
Yo soy Cristóbal Galindo y cuentas conmigo.
Welcome back. We're talking with Dr. Lorena Fernandez about how art can help us with our healing. Lorena, how can we apply this type of therapy to improve our health?
Okay, so if you want to do it by yourself, let's say you are a regular human being, so
We
what
hope.
just like every human being is a good example of that. You get a sketchbook, you get some oil pastels, and then you can start sketching whatever it comes to mind. Don't question, just start trying things. You can play music and then let your hand draw to the music, and then play a different music and let your hand draw to that other music. And then you write, and every time you get stuck on what to write, you start a phrase that says, I am, and then keep writing what comes after that, whatever comes to your mind, and I feel. And this is a way how you begin to establish a dialogue with your inner self of, you know, who you are and how you feel, mediated by the art. Another wonderful way is if you go to, let's say you go dancing, or you go to a dance class, or you go to a drum circle, which I highly recommend, drum circles. After that, do a drawing and do some writing. So these are ways how you are using the expressive arts to really get to know yourself and to release any unwanted emotions and to influence and spark your imagination. Also, if you went through a trauma, if you want to deal with things where you think you need help, many people on Psychology Today are qualified expressive arts therapists and qualified art therapists. So all you have to do is go on the website and type art therapist or expressive arts therapist, and you'll find many people in your area.
And you also teach.
I teach in the Houston Community College, and I teach a class called Introduction to the Humanities Through Expressive Arts. And I offer the students opportunities to do sculptures with clay, to try spontaneous music making with a variety of percussion instruments. They do painting and drawing at every class, and they share with the class. And they experience personal growth a lot. They understand why humans make art at a very deep level. You know, why do humans make art? Because humans have to deal with being a human being, which is difficult. There's a lot of challenges. There is suffering involved. Humans want to change the world and make things that didn't exist before.
Yeah.
That's part of being a human. So they need to make art to put their ideas in the real world. So they get this really deep understanding of why ancient art happened, why modern art happened, you know, what, you know, contemporary art that goes beyond a unpersonal understanding of it, that is pretty and so on, but they understand how it's connected to their own heart in a way.
To the culture, and we can begin to understand even primitive art.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, Lorena, thank you very much for joining us today. I appreciate it. It's been wonderful talking with you.
Thank you very much.
Well, friends, thank you for joining us here on Your Health Naturally. I invite you to look up our YouTube channel and subscribe and show us your support that way. We'll be sending you notifications of new posts, which typically happen every week. Thanks for joining us today live here on CVBA, and I will see you next week.
El programa anterior fue un programa pagado y las opiniones emitidas en el mismo no representan la opinión de CBBA Radio ni de sus patrocinadores.